in a similar decisive fashion, but of course on the receiving end of that loss. So we've got, mixed Oregon history here, and I'm not exactly sure what to expect, but I do know that Wichita Wolves, like our analyst talked about, they need to come out strong. That's the story of this matchup today. Can Wichita Wolves regain some of that almost godlike strength they had in the first stage? They are the stage 1 champions after all, and we just have not seen that sort of energy since, again, as you said, winless so far in stage 2. But we can see how Oregon is going to shape up as we get into our operator bans. The Ying going to be taken off the board here by OCG. Strong ban, because we know that Wichita Wolves do like to run that pick. And the Thatcher ban to follow. That is not much of a surprise.
Yeah, Ying, usually used on a basement attack to flood through E-Box, take really quick control of pillar, stuff like that. But in doing so, you are leaving all 4 hard breachers up. We'll likely see, what are we thinking? Mav Ace, Mav Hibana, probably some combination with a Mav. All map. The attackers have plenty of options depending on what site they're taking, what kind of push they want to be going for. Valkyrie and Wamai, also very default bans. Valkyrie lends herself to pretty much every single map in the pool, and Wamai makes it easier to hold bunker positions, especially with the recent reworks to both him and Jaeger. Combining the two makes that very effective. We're going to be going down to Laundry first, and Devil 6 picking off the mirror, bringing the Mute. We will have the Vigil, Mozzie, Mute combo, and that means we are likely going to have a very extended roam.
Yeah, we talked, or at least our analyst talked a good bit about, how OCG on the attacking side would deal with that roam. But we didn't really talk about if they would bring out some of that roam themselves. We can see here the Vigil and the Mozzie and the Mute. You've got that trio that we often see on Clubhouse, what we deem the SSG style roam, where you try to maintain as much map control as possible for as long as possible. And you use the information denial that those 3 operators have between them to make sure that roam can stay for as long as possible, that you force the attacking team to go through so many more steps in terms of actually clearing you out. And that's exactly what we're going to be seeing here. You can see the rotation established here between Kitchen and Meeting. That's going to allow Bone, for example, to rotate around freely. Devil as well, who's setting up a Mute Jammer here for a possible Meeting hold. As we can see, they've already opened that E-Box hatch, so they're not bothering to reinforce that or actually prevent that from being opened at all. Instead, they're going to hold Meeting and hold control of this first floor. It is interesting, though, that we don't see them on that second floor. They haven't put a single body up there, and considering that is the strategy of the round, roam is the strategy of the round, it's interesting to see them starting on the first floor instead of just maybe putting someone upstairs to eventually rotate on down and play a little bit fluidly in that sense.
Yeah, but it looks like Wichita Wolves are going to be pretty thorough, starting things in tower, likely going to be clearing into attic to make way, and just make sure that top floor is vacant. Now, I want to touch on something the analyst desk highlighted, and it was in the player comparison. It was between Bone and, well, I guess now the aptly named Apebunai. They haven't been having the best season. I think a lot of this game, with 2 very structured teams, is going to be decided by who can actually make that entry game worth it. Are we going to have Bone step up? Are we going to have Abonai step up? And if they both do, we might have a little bit of a good balance. I'm also going to be on the lookout for 2 of the top performing members on OCG and Wichita Wolves, Melted and Nova, because those 2 guys, though these teams haven't actually won anything just yet, those 2 guys have been absolutely incredible, and it's once again going to, I think, be a contest of which of those players can step up more.
Well, the contest, in this round at least, is now shifted to the basement floor itself. We're going to see now a full push in through elbow by the Wichita Wolves, now that they know that it has been fully cleared on out. Interesting choice to put those Hibana pellets down, because you had an Electro Claw right on the other side. GXD making sure to place that one down in time, taking quick care of those pellets and making sure that E-Box, not E-Box rather, elbow remains secure for a bit longer. Now, Abonai with a nade, that's going to force GXD back. He'll only take a little bit of damage and stay alive, but as he rotates around in through the closet, Abonai will cut his head off through the bomb chassis. So a great start for the Wolves as they begin. what looks like a little bit of an execute here. Abonai, the first player to make this initial entry, and now the flashes are going to come out to force these remaining 2 players back. Abonai actually in the middle of the site gets 1, but quickly traded back. Call out lines up 2. A good C4 from Devil is something, but it sure isn't enough to prevent Devil from now staring down 3 opponents in a brutal situation. Forrest finishing that one off with an SMG-11 in hand, and the Wichita Wolves will take round 1.
That was a beautiful execute from Wichita Wolves. So first off, the roam clear, while it didn't find any picks, it forced all the roamers back at, what would you say, about the halfway point, minute 30? So they already knew they had all the control they needed. Every defender was forced back to the site. Wichita Wolves, sure, their hard breaching doesn't go as planned on elbow, but what does Abonai do? Abonai does what we have been wishing he would do the entire stage thus far. He ran at a site, and he got 2 kills before he got traded off. He got a beautiful shot on a GXD between the bomb chassis and the shelf, denying, well, not only, giving his team that initial pick and opening up the site just a little bit, also denying one of those C4s. He runs in, gets another kill before he's traded out by Nova, but what happens at the same time? As Abonai is running amok in supply, you have Call Out hitting the back from Laundry, getting, I believe, 2 kills. Yeah, 2 kills of his own from that flank position that no one on OCG was watching because they were not ready for that fast execute from Abonai, the following almost immediate plant attempt. And Wichita Wolves just took advantage of that controlled chaos they had established on the site. And if that's how most of their attacks are going to be, because that's something we haven't really seen from them all stage, especially an entry from Abonai like that, I am all for it.
I mean, that's the kind of thing you just, sometimes it just requires somebody to walk into site with a gun up and with all the confidence in the world, right? And that's exactly what Abonai did. It's possible that OCG thought, oh, we know there's a Yana in E-Box, maybe we don't want to expose our positions because that Gemini clone could come on in and maybe it'll gain this intel, but instead it was actually Abonai himself, not a drone, not a clone, nothing to gain intel, just to gain frags instead, and it worked out in their favor to start. That's an interesting play from Zoinkers. He's going to be ridiculously aggressive despite a drone spotting out that position, and that is going to allow Abonai to continue the aggression we just spoke about, just walking up the armory stairs and getting the opening pick for the Wichita Wolves. That takes Zoinkers off the board. You put down the Vulcan shield, so that piece of your utility as a Goyo has been used, but a C4 that you'd really like for later in the round is not going to be an option. Good thing is you still have 2 C4s in pocket. Nova and Devil, who were both playing downstairs until just a moment ago, do have that utility to work with, so we could see them lurking down by kitchen and dining, staying there for a bit longer so that they can maybe get that C4 on up towards that floor and destroy anybody as they come on in through that big window.
There's a C4 prep for Attic as well through those floor holes. Devil sends it up, but no one is there to receive. Something else that we can talk about that opening pick. Who got that kill, Jonah? It was none other than our good friend Abonai. It was highlighted in the analyst desk, and sure, it's only been 2 rounds, but I will remain cautiously optimistic. So far, Abonai, through these first couple attacks, has been doing exactly what we've wanted him to do this entire stage, just like I said in the previous round. So, a minute 20 left. Devil is still downstairs, though his C4 has been expended. The only one left, as you had highlighted, is Nova, but Forrest is downstairs. He's watching for the rotate. He'll catch Bone just sprinting right into Greenhall. Bone maybe should have been watching for that. I mean, there's people in tower. They're starting to take out of control. There's bound to be some kind of flank watch, and Abonai is just in the middle of the site. He walks right in, gets a frag before he's traded out. GXD claps back with 2 more, but Melted finds him on the trade. Forrest with the last. Wichita Wolves take yet another domineering attacking round and string 2 in a row.
Yeah, great start on the attacking side for Wichita Wolves. Oregon attack is not always the easiest place to kick off a round and get that momentum in your favor, but they've done a great job of doing so. That time, the defense from OCG was oddly similar to the previous round. They prioritized holding the first floor. They had extended that hold into meeting, into kitchen and dining. They had players on the bottom of the white stairs, but what that did is it left the site a little bit vulnerable. In round number 1, they did do a good job of rotating back to the objective in time and actually taking those fights on the objective floor, the basement in that case. But in round number 2, they didn't quite get that far. they extended a little bit out of their reach, allowed Wichita Wolves to get a little bit too far into the site before returning to base and getting cut down as a result. Couple of just miscommunications on defense, maybe just not the best, overall setup in mind for their defense. On that top floor, it's definitely important to maintain control of kitchen and dining, or at least pressure of kitchen and dining, if the attacking team wants to come in from that way and if they want to approach from that main dorms side. But most of the time, we're going to see teams push from master, push from games, and come in through that southeast corner of the top floor. And OCG, they just did not have the defensive setup to really prepare for that. I guess the only person they had who was going to hold that position was Zoinkers, the player who, of course, swung onto the armory stairs and died within about 30 seconds of the round. So maybe from there, it kind of just cascaded into a whole lot of trouble, but I don't know exactly what the problem was, but what you can say is 2 rounds in a row for Wichita Wolves. Very well done, and now OCG, they have to scramble and just try again the basement site and hope they can pull it out.
Once again, they are running a roam, though it's not as deep because they don't have nearly as much drone denial. As far as I can tell from the setup and from the current silhouettes, there are 2 people there? No, okay. They do have 3 men, but they're hovering around the staircases rather than fully committing over towards meeting in kitchen. Nova hovering around the freezer stairs while Bone plays in kitchen. You've got Devil playing both meeting and green hall. Zoinkers up laundry. GXD, actually, he was up the tower stairs before. He's now falling back. So many of the members of OCG were kind of fanned out and away from the site earlier in the round, likely just hunting drones, trying to get early picks on those little intel pieces from the attack because they don't have as much denial. But Wichita Wolves seem like they're just going to be going for a similar clear, but down goes one of those Ianas, and he may have just confirmed that there's not too much dedicated, not necessarily to the site because he didn't get that far, but at least over towards Pillar. And if Wichita Wolves can take this control without having to take too many engagements, even maybe pick off GXD, that could be absolutely huge.
Well, GXD is the first player to face down the increasingly heavy Wichita Wolves attack here. We'll see them pressuring on the tower stairs a moment ago. Call out. He's working his way towards this construction side of things. Nobody actually playing an elbow once again. We're not seeing a OCG setup on this east side. Instead, it is really focused on the roam and really focused on holding down laundry and freezer. As we can see now, everyone rotating back to the bomb site. And earlier in the round, 4 players were off site, but now everyone has peeled back and are ready for this Wichita Wolves take. It's going to be a pillar-sided take, so we can see all of these attackers geared up for this execute. A couple of nades coming on in. Abonai cooking one up, sending it towards Devil, and that's not quite going to connect. ADSs, even though they are in play, they were effectively burned out, but unfortunately this time GXD is not going to get caught out by that nade. Nitro Cell going back and forth this one towards Abonai, but not going to connect. And once again, Abonai finds himself aggressive and in the middle of the site. Jay now going for this plant. Look to just be a bait because he's got ample time, but instead he's going to stick that. There's 2 C4s in pocket, and they were nowhere to be found. Nova will get a kill. Devil to follow with a second, but it is now a post plant, but it's all up to Melted in a 1v5. Devil on the counter defuse while Melted tries to hold this one down, but nothing is going to be done because Bone is there with the shots. Great defense there from OCG, troubling as the plant went down, but a great retake to finish it off.
And I have to wonder, despite the plethora of C4s OCG had at their disposal, I have to wonder, was that the play to begin with? Were they just going for a retake? Because the spot where Wichita Wolves were planting, right in front of the E-box door, is a very exposed one. If you're planting there, especially in a 5v5, it is imperative that you have all of your angles covered as the attack, because it is very easy to swing on that plant spot. It's very easy to get a C4 over. No C4 came, but because Wichita Wolves were pushed so far forward to adequately cover for that plant, as they tried to make their escape, they got cut down. I believe it was Devil who started things off with 2. Nova got one of his own. GXD was patiently watching those elbow mav holes, knowing that someone would eventually retake that position, and OCG just collapsed on the retreating attacking players. Perfectly timed from OCG. Again, I don't know if the initial plan was to in fact retake, but because there was nothing Like, you know how a lot of times in a plant attempt with like a gridlock or a thatcher, like they'll throw out an EMP, they'll throw out a track stingers or whatever to cover the sound of the plant. There was no sound cover or distraction whatsoever from Wichita Wolves, so I can't really see any reason why OCG wouldn't have heard it start going down, which is why it leads me to believe that maybe it was a planned retake, but either way, I digress. Good round win, and we are not going to go back to dorms. Instead, OCG are more comfortable pushing out the tertiary site onto meeting with a crouching stage mirror. Okay.
Yeah, this one's gonna be this is going to be interesting to see how it shakes up. I mean, the other mirror window, it's upstairs here in attic. Bone has a rotate and a place to prevent anyone from swinging on in through big tower, at least early in the round, but we've seen that go down horribly before for the player behind that mirror window. We'll see exactly what Wichita Wolves and how they want to approach this exactly. Usually, this is when you'll see that top-down clear, and we're not seeing them put too much pressure into big tower right now. Just one player on the rappel, which pretty much confirms that they're going to clear their way through the other side. You will have Zoinkers to contest that. It's not just Bone in attic. It's Zoinkers here in kids to hold down this top floor if they can. Bone is actually dropped away for now and has rotated back towards meeting as he senses the increasing pressure on this top floor. Zoinkers somehow didn't know there were players already up in dorms. Overexposes himself, but he won't quite pay the price just yet. But now with 3 attackers, now 4, bearing down on this site, Nova is hoping to be the last hope for their teammate Zoinkers in pulling this one back, but a couple of missed shots will not allow that to happen. Not only does Forrest get that kill, but Zoinkers was not able to escape with their life. GXD will also go down, making this a 5v2 with still a minute 30 left to play.
Bone will try to retake into attic, but there's adequate flank watch from Melted. Although Melted won't miss a key few shots, he deals good damage to Bone, starts to peel off to reload, and now he knows that the Jaeger is pushing up thanks to those pre-fires. That's an easy swing and kill for the Zoe. It's Devil alone on site in a 1 versus 5. Sure, he's got a C4 in pocket, but is that going to be enough? Jay, he's going to start to move in towards the dining side of things. Forrest goes down, but there's an immediate refrag from Abenize. Wichita Wolves take round number 4 thanks to a brilliant top floor clear that I really got a question from OCG. It looked like they definitely overextended themselves a little bit.
Yeah, overextended, over-aggressive. I mean, those are a couple of words I used to describe that. It's just, they had the core parts of the setup down, right? You had a defender pretty much in every power position you'd want, attic, kids, in the top of white stairs. But when you see so much attacking pressure building and just forcing you out, sometimes you have to just take the L, back on off, and say, you know what, they can have the top floor. I'd rather fight 5-on-5 on site than 5v2 and still lose top floor map control eventually, right? With a team as experienced and talented as the Wichita Wolves, yes, they've had a rough start to the stage, but this is a gifted team. And not only are they going to be efficient on their clears, they're going to be quick to adapt, they're going to be quick to identify what kind of setup you're throwing at them, even if it is a little bit more convoluted with some bizarre mirror windows that we really didn't see come into play. It was a simple top-down clear from the Wichita Wolves, but that simplicity, it was executed perfectly, and OCG, rather than just taking that loss on the top floor and saying, it's okay, we'll back on off, you can have it, they just tried too hard to hold it. They even tried to retake it twice. Nova first, Bone second, just trying to hold top floor control for as long as they can, and that effort was just a bit too much commitment for a position that really wasn't do or die for the round.
Yeah, I really hate to, again, harp on a previous round, but, I mean, the position itself from Nova wasn't bad. Top white is, a default spot for a top floor hold. It's just that when Zoinkers got shot at by Forrest, he should have called out that, okay, there's someone playing metal. And then Nova pushes out and exposes himself to metal bunks while peeking 2 people in trophy instead of just watching his teammates cross. That was the most questionable thing for me, but, again, rounds passed. Hopefully Nova remembers that for next time. We're back onto dorms. It's not necessarily a similar setup because now instead of the Goya, we have a Mira, which again is going to be placed inside of attic, but Wichita Wolves are doing the same thing they did in the previous round when OCG had those tower-facing Miras, and that's ignore it. Let's push from the other side. It is a full game's commitment I guess I'll say, from Wichita Wolves, at least thus far. But that's a great nade from Forrest. He's playing on the big window. That's an important cutoff spot for an attacker to take control of, especially if you're putting all your eggs in the game's basket. And that's going to be GXD dead. That is the smoke off the board. In comes the rush from Abinai. He'll get killed by Zoinkers from the mirror second. In fact, Zoinkers is going to go crazy. The mirror inside of Attic finds all 4 games attackers. For sure, he's able to get 1 frag, but he's stuck in a 1 versus 3 as all of his teammates funneled into the Vector. He's stuck inside of bunks. I'm sure he's got a minute and a half to play with. That's plenty of time. But is he going to be able to find the kills? He will shut down Zoinkers, and he'll be able to find a 4th. 2 quad kills in the round. Is he going to be on for the ace? He's just got to find Bone. Bone is playing right next to the trophy doorway. Hard left, but Forrest, you can tell he's not playing off of very much info, but he'll see the head of the Jaeger, and Forrest brings the round back. It's a 4K for GXD, but an ace from Forrest to topple the round back in the Wichita Wolves' favor.
That is unbelievable. A 4K and then an ace to answer it. Forrest just, I mean, wow. That is certainly one way to make a statement. All of your teammates die around you to 1 player, I might add. And then you just say, I don't care. I am going to frag out and finish this off myself. Excellent play from Forrest. A messy round from both teams, as generally happens when you see so many kills from just 1 player on each side. But man, that is a great way to hold the site. OCG had everything going their way, and then Forrest just hit Control-Z on that keyboard and just said, I want it back. So stellar job there from Wichita Wolves. I mean, I guess Forrest, I don't want to give the Wolves too much credit because they all died to the 1 player. Neither team really doing all that much ridiculous and strong. I mean, it was just the 1 player on each side who just, I mean, mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah, Forrest, that's Fofo-san for you. That's Monkey PQ. Obama.embers if we want to go back that far. That was a... Was that a 1v4 ace clutch?
5 seconds left before...
I'm pretty sure he got the nade kill. Then the rush came in and all 4 of his teammates died. And then it was a 1v4. I think. At the very least, it was a 1v3 ace clutch, which is still absolutely phenomenal for Forrest. Also, I think I miscredited the 4K to GXD. It was actually Zoinkers. That's my bad, if I did. I don't remember if I did or not, because I was too distracted by Forrest walking in and killing literally everybody because OCG didn't play together. That's what happens when you're in a clutch situation. Usually the person in the 1vx wins it because the other team gives them 1s, and that 1 player just happens to be really nuts. We know Forrest is capable of it, and OCG gave him the 1v1s he was looking for. So, OCG, obviously not happy at all with how that round turned out, and they will not go dorms again. They've lost it twice, albeit they should have won it that second round thanks to a 4K, but they didn't. They'll go back down to Laundry, a site that they are 1-1 on, and this is actually, I believe, is the first time, or at least push his way on through towards Bone,
who is positioned here in security. Bone just casually waiting here. It's been now 60 seconds, and he is holding this position down. Not really quick to...
Bomb has been located.
That was weird. Our apologies. I think our TeamSpeak just crashed, so we just lost all comms with each other.
Players did too, actually.
Oh, the players did too. Okay, so hopefully the players are able to get that sorted out, because whatever the TeamSpeak server that we use for Challenger League just crashed. So apologies for the silence. That was a little bit awkward while we tried to figure everything out, but we're still in the round. The game must go on. I missed who got the opening picks, but Abinai and Bone, they're both dead. Losing Uriana, much more of a detriment. then losing your Vigil, and it's a 4v4 heading in the last 35 seconds. It's a pretty big freezer commitment here from the attack. Nova holding the angle, tags up Jay just a bit, but it's not enough to finish the kill. I like the Wichita Wolves' adjustment to rotate over towards the laundry side of things because they don't want to deal with the elbow mirror window, but they do have to deal with the one inside of closet. They've got the Hibana to try and deal with it. Forrest gets one kill onto Devil as he drops through E-Box. Nova, though, he'll find a triple as he finds 2 and 3. Melted refrag zone. It's a 2 versus 2, 10 seconds. Pressuring into boxes, Forrest, but he gets caught off by the rotate. That leaves Melted alone in the clutch. Only 4 seconds. Can he do it? A fantastic wallbang finds 1!
Oh my.
And GXD looks the wrong way. Another clutch for Wichita Wolves. They take yet another attack they should not have won. And end the half, 5 rounds.
Okay, fantastic play there to close it. Gotta say, though, that has a little bit of an asterisk in my mind because I've got to assume...
Yeah, because there's no comms.
all the players lost comms, right? So they
Yeah.
could not call out to each other, and they're not going to spend the middle of the round to change over to a Discord server or miraculously recover that. So we have the technical difficulties. They did too, but what a way to end the round here. So we're gonna have a bit of a technical pause while we figure this out and make sure all the players are in their comms once again because we want them all to be coordinated. But man, that was quite a half. We saw first the ace, 4K ace trade, followed by a wonderful clutch from Melted amidst the chaos of the lack of comms.
I believe the clutch from Melted was also a 4K.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
Yeah. And both teams had no comms.
That's so funny, dude.
For that entire round. So the fact that Forrest flanked was probably left unknown for a little bit until someone figured it out and he got killed by the rotate. And we can't really put it squarely on GXD's shoulders for looking the wrong way because there's no comms. His teammate got wallbanged while swinging like kind of wide over towards the freezer side of things. So it's perfectly understandable that GXD, well, maybe he should have heard the direction that the gunshots were coming from. Sometimes sound can be a little bit weird. It's perfectly understandable to think that his teammate got killed from the very exposed angle over towards freezer. But yeah, hopefully we get TeamSpeak sorted because that is not a funny enough. This is not on Siege. This is not on production. This is a completely separate issue. So we don't really know how to fix it. I'm repeatedly trying to reconnect to the server, and I'm getting error messages.
I'm sure the players can
every
find
single time
another way to calm, but I
actually don't know because the reason why they're all in the TeamSpeak, I think, is for like the admins, and stuff.
They got to be here. We'll see. I mean, because it's an interesting dilemma in that last round, but while we get all that resolved, definitely a great half from Wichita Wolves. Maybe this is the return to form that we kind of all wanted to see. I know we've kind of been secretly or not so secretly hoping that these players start to get a little bit back on their feet because it sucks to see a team that was the champions of stage 1 just kind of come out and not show up in stage 2. But this is definitely what we expected to see, and it's just about if they can continue that on defense when they switch halves. And I can't imagine why not, because after all, Oregon generally favors the defense, if not, dead even split between the defense and the attacking teams. And that was a 5-1 attacking half from the Wichita Wolves. So, I mean, they keep that up going into defense. OCG have their work seriously cut out for them here. I know they may not be, they may not be in love with the map of Oregon. They may not have wanted to go here necessarily today. Maybe Consulate is something they would rather preferred, but whatever it is, they got to wake up here on Oregon because 5-1, you are 1 point away from match point and 1 point away from a very decisive loss.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, it's a 5-1 half. Wichita Wolves were on attack. Only one defense on Oregon is not great. Okay, sure, one of the attacker bans is Ying. We got to get that off the board. So it's not the biggest attacker ban, but still, even though you use a lose a Valkyrie and a Wamai, that's still a tough loss of the half for OCG. But we are going to throw it to a quick break while we get all this TeamSpeak stuff sorted out. The players are being directed to a new one. We have the new one as well. So as soon as we get all the issues sorted, we will be back. Please bear with us. Hopefully we get everything working pretty soon. Welcome back, everyone. Apologies for the technical difficulties, but we are in a new TeamSpeak. I believe the players are in the new TeamSpeak. We're getting everyone back in the lobby. So, little thing about that last round. It will be rehosted, despite the availability of in-games comms. Because TeamSpeak went down when all 10 players were still alive, the admin call is a replay. So same site, same operators, but we will resume at 4-1 Wichita.
So I guess opportunity for OCG. They know a lot about the basement site now. They know what works and what doesn't. Or, well, they know what doesn't work. There was a round number 3, they were able to win it out. So that is something. They played a ridiculous retake strat, and it worked brilliantly, I might add. So maybe we'll see some of that, because in that last round, without the comms, you're not going to be able to do some huge coordinated retake strat, obviously. So we'll see how they can stack things up here. Again, it is the same site, same operators. So in getting into this round, it will be pretty similar stuff. We'll know what to look for. We'll probably see that same, that setup on that first floor, that extended roam that we've seen OCG really like to do. So all eyes will be on Wichita Wolves. And if they can, prove that last round, despite the comms, wasn't a fluke, that they should have it regardless. Either way, finishing out this half 5-1 or 4-2 is an exceptional half on Oregon attack. So I don't think they're going to be too worried about going into that next half regardless of this round. But I know, Forrest, I know everyone on this team, their coach as well, Forceful, they really want to get this round just to make sure that the scoreline stays the same before the rehost. But I'm sure that if we see that same strength and that same confidence that all 5 of these players have when they approach every single gunfight, that that round victory is not only possible, it is probable.
Yeah, and not only as well are we going to be going back to the heavy roam setup OCG had been employing, but every other time they've run this roam setup, they haven't had the Mira. Last time we saw the Mira, in the previous laundry round that has now is in the process of being replayed, they didn't play that roam. It was the first time they brought Mira on the site, and it was a pretty heavy bunker hold, very close to the chest. So now we'll be extending, and I guess they just want that extra support for the few anchors they'll have left downstairs. They got the elbow Mira, of course, and the closet Mira, the two pretty default ones. Of course, the elbow one being newer, but the closet one being around since Mira's inception, which was year 1. What are we in? We're in like year 6, right?
I don't even know. It's been a while.
I don't even know. Basically, it's old. And Wichita Wolves are going to be starting with a west side clear, making me think that perhaps they'll be going for that laundry freezer push once again.
Oh. Bone there caught on his drone while I guess another drone came his way, so not really anything of consequence, but could have caught Bone out if he wasn't quick to get off that camera and dart back towards the freezer stairs. Same thing goes for Zoinkers. He was over by the main lobby area, but he has reinforced those stairs down towards laundry and is playing on those stairs as well. So you still have a good bit of this first floor presence. I'm honestly a little bit surprised that OCG are forcing this strategy yet again, considering it's really inconsistency in these last few rounds. Even in the round we saw emulating this one here, it didn't work out so well. This time, however, things are going to go in their favor. Nova's going to get a fadeaway shot onto Abonai as he drops down the hatch and retreats with Bone into freezer itself. And although Melted was quick on the swing, the trade could not be found, and OCG are up a man.
Looked like Abonai tried to nade the freezer cross while going into security at the same time, so he could take the 1v1, but the 1v1 just didn't go his way. I liked the idea from Abonai. Unfortunately, the execution was just not there. So, 5v4. OCG held onto the roam for, again, about half the round. And Wichita Wolves are still maving the attic hatch at a minute 20. So they are up a man. And Abonai has been, he hasn't just been the space maker. He hasn't been what some people call the suicide entry, which is just walk in, die, and get traded. He has been getting those frags, and he has been having a great Oregon so far, a turnaround from the rest of the stage. And now, Wichita Wolves, They're not going to have that at their disposal. They've also lost an important set of nades. He had already used one. They lose the Gaunt 6. And as Forest drops, they'll lose their Sledge as well. Sure, there's a trade from Jay onto Bone. Melted gets one in Freezer as well before he's cut down. And oh, a brilliant shot from Nova for his 3rd kill. He rips the head off the low HP Hibana. That leaves Callout in a 1 versus 3. This replayed round looking like it's going to go in OCG's favor. Callout, he's got the case, but he's only got 20 seconds to play with. And OCG are holding a mean cross. They've got one tentatively waiting towards the long hallway. The player in Freezer does go down, though. A beautiful shot from Callout finds that head to end Nova's reign of terror, but he's only got 10 seconds. He's going to try and rush in towards Supply. No, he'll think different and actually take the head off of GXD. It's a 1 versus 1, and Callout still wins it. OCG, once again, they have the man count in the 1vx, and they take 1v1 after 1v1, giving the kills to Callout. Wichita Wolves still salvage that 5-1 half.
I cannot believe it. I thought in that moment there is no chance that OCG lose this one again. I think that's, what is that? Technically 3 rounds in a row, right? Because let's say
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, technically the round that never happened did happen. At least we watched it, and we watched OCG throw another 1vx situation. Come on, guys. You got to play together. You've got to have better coordination, because not only did they get aced on by Forest, then Melted walked in and got a 4K, and then it is Callout in a 1v3, 20 seconds left, doesn't even have the case in hand. There's no situation in which he should win that, let alone Wichita Wolves winning that 3 times in a row. You know, at least the positive for OCG is they know something they've got to work on, right? They know maybe, oh, there's a reason you're sitting here in 8th place. You need to work on those 1vx's. It's not rocket science. Play coordinated. Try to play off your teammate and get a trade if you can. Do not give any player on this Wichita Wolves side multiple 1v1s, because they're going to enter that and they're going to have the advantage. They're insanely talented players, and they've proven that 3 times in a row, coming out of the half 5-1, despite a dramatic disadvantage going into the closing seconds of round number 6. They will emerge into the defensive half very much ahead, with all the confidence in the world and with all the justification for it.
Yeah, I don't understand why at the very least OCG don't play for contact. Like, just have your guy in Freezer, hold a passive angle. Have the guy watching long, hold a passive angle. Have your closet guy hold a passive angle. Just play for contact. Wait till Callout swings one of you. He'll probably go Freezer first. If you play that passive, if he kills the Freezer guy, then have GXD swing long. Like, it's, I don't know. OCG just it feels like they just keep getting ahead of themselves. They want to end the round earlier than they have to. Now we're going downstairs for Wichita Wolves. And I think during your explanation, the observer showed us a mirror window down on site. And it's actually on the laundry rotate. See Max, our beautiful observer Max, giving us an overhead now. So they have the closet mirror, that's default. But they've also got a mirror in the rotate facing Supply. And I guess that's just to make sure no one can push through elbow? I mean, I'm not quite sure how deep of an angle it sees onto long haul. Usually people don't push through elbow itself, so I have to imagine it's a long haul thing. They've even got a shield to protect that player from the Freezer angle. So, I mean, it's an interesting mirror window. We'll see if it works out as we're now hitting the last minute 20. The execute's going to have to come soon from OCG, and it seems to be completely tower side.
Yeah, they haven't really applied any pressure to, honestly, anywhere else. So Wichita Wolves should have a pretty good handle on this round, because they know exactly what they're dealing with. As Abu and I will indicate, by running outside construction, nobody, until a moment ago, is coming that direction. Nobody over on Freezer, nobody towards Laundry. Finally, Devil will mix things up by eventually heading towards Elbow here. But again, a lot of progress needs to be made. Looks like Nova will find the opening pick. GXD to follow. A couple of great shots there through this soft wall that Wichita Wolves have left this entire time. That's exactly what this mirror window is for, now that we are realizing that. Melted will answer. Good kill there onto Nova, but now kind of stuck here in Freezer, being held by several players. Abunai, great shot, but he will die in elbow if OCG focus on him for even a second. There's no reinforcement out. He just got to sit here and take the brunt of this attack. Looks like Bone knows this. Same goes for Zoinkers here, as they're going to be able to push on through, but Abunai wins anyway. The first fight should not have gone his way, but does. Bone gets a trade, but now it's a 2v2 with only 10 seconds left, and OCG need to get a move on. Bone will do that. Great kill onto Melted. Now swinging it on to Jay, who will not look the right way, and he'll take all the shots from this rotation through the long haul. Not really looking the right direction in the right time, and OCG will find an attacking win.
So OCG, while the push was, albeit a little bit one-dimensional, everybody flooding in from the tower and pillar side with no open elbow wall either, so there was really no crossfire for the attack established. They still found their entry picks. They used the soft single wall, which is what the Mira window was supposed to watch. Actually, completely, when I was trying to speculate what the Mira window is for, I completely forgot they left it soft. So the soft single wall was being watched by the Mira window, and still they drop in front of it and get the opening picks anyway. Nova with one, GXC just peeking, I believe, the E-box doorway in the supply, getting the other. Now, while yes, Wichita Wolves are able to find the refrags, Abunai makes a great play from elbow, finding two before he's traded out. It's a 2 versus 2, and Bone, I mean, seemingly solo. I don't know how far Zoinkers was behind him. Judging by the silhouettes, it looked like Zoinkers was moving through E-box while Bone took control of Freezer. Bone won his 1v1s. In the 2v2, once again, the defensive team does not play together. They give two separate 1v1 engagements to Bone. Bone wins both, OCG with the round. So, probably, again, being very angry about losing their laundry defense that they should have won twice in a row, even though it was replayed. OCG are able to at least take their first attack. And once again, we have a very interesting strategy from Wichita Wolves. Half of the game's wall is open. This is something that we see Parabellum do. It's something they love to do, except there's no Goyo, and they've actually got a shield on the wall facing the white rotate and big window.
Interesting, we're seeing so much innovation here from the Wolves in a game like this where they have such an advantage. Either it's they're showing new strats and trying them out, or, this is just like that sample test run. Maybe we can see how this works instead of, this is tried and true. We've scrimmed this a lot. Let's bring it out with an intent to really dominate here, because right now we've seen some, as the last round indicates, some inconsistencies with that kind of setup here. Looks like Nova's going to be feeling some of that Abunai energy, and, well, we'll be taking care of Abunai this round. Again, sprinting, in fact, right on into the building and claiming the opening pick. That's going to remove the Jaeger and is a great way for OCG to start. That's going to silence one of the most dominant players in this game so far, at least in the fragging department here. Jay is the next player to come under threat. A drone into security will identify his position, and he'll make a quick escape, but now caught in a crossfire, needs to be very careful how he gets out. Looks like Melted will eventually get that trade, but not before Zoinkers was able to silence Jay for good. So it's going to be a 4v3 with OCG maintaining this advantage. The trade game, which they've struggled with in the end of the round, seems to be going their way in the middle and the beginning.
That was a beautiful pinch on the Jay. They knew he was security. They droned him out. Sure, Jay rotates in, but then you have someone watching the dining door, someone coming in through the pre-made rotate, challenging that, and then Buck bucking open the wall next to him, and Jay just simply did not know what to look at. Melted, trying to retake upstairs. Unfortunately, ill-advised as he's caught by the flank watch of Nova. Nova, who, similarly to how Abunai was playing in the first half, Nova has gotten the opening pick in the past 3 rounds in a row. He is doing wonderfully. This is why he is, I believe, currently the highest rated player on his team. And Callout's going to take even more damage from the Zofia. Watching the main stairs, Callout decides to re-engage. He's cut down, and GXC gets the final frag. OCG, after a poor defensive performance, now take their first 2 attacks in a row.
Yeah, quite a turnaround from OCG here, especially from Nova. You highlighted him. Just, 6-7 kills now since the rehost? That is exceptional, considering it's been only 2 rounds, or 3 rounds now. Good stuff from OCG. I mean, that is a textbook attack all the way around. I can't help but feel that Wichita Wolves are getting far too aggressive, though, right? We talked about this confidence that they came into the second half with, and gained that confidence, of course, by just clutching it up and finding so much individual success, running and gunning, per se, on the attacking side. But that has not worked out on the defensive side at all.
Attackers need
That's
to
2 rounds in a
locate
row
and
now where
defuse
we've seen
bomb.
Wichita Wolves try to challenge a lot of things where the defenders generally have no business challenging certain angles. A couple of examples there. We saw one player trying to, I think it was Jay, rotating back down from the basement. Considering that's a top floor defense, that's not the best place for Jay to be caught out, 2 floors away from the site. Same thing goes for Call Out, just too over eager, really wanted to take that fight against Nova. Obviously, they're feeling good on the side of Wichita Wolves, but if you keep playing like that, you're bound to give the momentum back to OCG, and those feelings of
10 seconds
confidence
left
and
before
strength
insertion.
turn quickly into individual over-aggression and a lack of team play that can put you in problematic situations very quickly. Not to say we're too far gone for the Wichita Wolves right now. They still have a 2-round advantage, but you can definitely see moments where OCG can claw their way back in this fight.
Yeah, they're starting to close the gap. Slowly but surely. But we're going to go back down to Laundry. No Mira shenanigans this time from Wichita Wolves, but they are once again bringing Ella, who, of course, has a shield. Shields are important. So you got 2 shields if you're the defense. One of them dedicated to Elbow. I'm not quite sure where on site the second one is. I imagine either by Freezer or Laundry. Okay. It's in Long Hall. So yeah, you can watch through either Freezer, or if it's a full Pillars take, you can watch down the hallway with that shield. One thing I'm a little bit curious about from OCG is why they're hard sticking the Buck. It's just, it seems like out of all the options that you could be going with, Buck, I mean, you know, he's got burn, he's got stuns, but just his primary utility is not the best on Oregon unless you're doing a bottom-up take. I mean, maybe it's just in case the defense goes dorms like they did last round. You know, if you take that bottom control, which is what OCG were playing for, you can do a bottom-up on kids, but attacking basement doesn't really do much except allow for burn. Bone is going to early on burn the Aruni Gate on Laundry. A stun comes in as well to help pop flash Nova through, and Nova's got a pretty aggressive position from which he'll be able to find a kill. The opener once again for the Zofia. That's now 4 rounds in a row as he fries Call Out and deals with the shield watching long.
Not only is Nova going to start this one off, but OCG are going to start this one off a little bit differently in terms of their overall setup. We saw last time they approached pretty much solely through the pillar side and had a very north side oriented take. With this one, as you can see by Devil and Nova's position, it's Laundry and it's Freezer. That's where the pressure is coming from. Nova finally silenced by Jay, and a really good shot there, but Forrest will be down for his troubles in the meantime. Bone, as he begins this push up towards Freezer, will be assisted now by GXD, cutting off that Freezer door from the other side and pillar. That leaves Melted and Jay, the last 2 alive. Melted gets 1 here, but needs to find a couple of more because 45 seconds remain. That is ample time for OCG to get the job done. The red pings are there, so Jay knows exactly what he's swinging on, but 2 players with a pre-fire will silence the smoke for good. Bone, the last player to get that kill, and he will get the job done, and OCG turned it around tremendously. Not only taking a couple rounds in a row, but making this one look like an attacker-sided Oregon.
Yeah, that was, I guess this is just kind of an effect of the fact that the attacker bans are Ying Thatcher, while on defense you've taken away the Valkyrie and the Wamai. I mean, slightly weaker attacker ban, but still, the way these 2 teams are playing, it doesn't really look like they really need that Wamai anyway, so I don't really know too much or how influential the bans are. But regarding that last round, OCG played that pretty well. They had the Zof sneak down Laundry Stairs very early, Arunige got burned, and really early kill on the Cade. Nova, I think, maybe played it a little bit too aggressive, but he was playing off his teammate's call. He had the Maverick back him up in Laundry when he died, and the players funneling down Freezer were able to get the down on 1. GXD watching flank from tower got another one. Bone was able to spring in at the perfect time, and it just seemed like OCG had all their angles covered. That's pretty much what that attack comes down to. Wichita Wolves, after a pretty damn good attacking half, I'm just not quite sure what's going on with their defense.
I mean, thinking about that attack more and more, given what we're seeing on defense, I mean, it really was individual success. That's kind of what gave the Wichita Wolves their rounds. right? Two of them were because of huge clutch plays, but how'd we get there? Why did they need to perform such a miraculous clutch? Because the team play of Wichita Wolves was seriously lacking. They weren't doing a great job of playing off each other. They weren't playing their trades all that well on the attack. But again, they found the rounds because of individual play. Now, I wonder, now shifting over to the defense, that mentality, it's still there. A bit too much. They've yet to shake this individual sense, the need to swing everything, play in isolated positions, and it's getting them caught out, and it's becoming a serious problem. We're not seeing any trades on the side of the Wichita Wolves. It's OCG, in fact, who are playing off each other better than ever. We saw how much they struggled on defense, but all of a sudden on attack, the side that really requires that focus and that teamwork orientation and that mindset, it's surprising to see them all of a sudden turn it around and do so well. But I think it's a combination of Wichita Wolves allowing them to get back in this fight, but OCG doing a damn good job of taking advantage of that.
Now Wichita Wolves, obviously not comfortable going back to either of their two primary sites, will go Dining. Dining, I feel like, at least through this Challenger League stage so far, has not been as favored as Meeting, and that's generally the consensus for most teams, is that Meeting a little bit more comfortable. But Wichita Wolves, as always, doesn't matter which of the two tertiary sites you go to, you need some kind of upstairs presence. And they've got Jay currently playing up there inside of Kids with a mirror window to aid him. And the only other really upstairs presence, well, they had before Callout walked up white, was actually Abonai in top small. It doesn't look like OCG are pushing over there, so I don't have to question how short-lived Abonai may be. That's still a little bit of an interesting position to play. Here comes the clear from OCG, though. Moving through Attic, moving through games. It looks pretty default so far. Ivana struggles to go through Attic. I mean, already a minute and a half down, though. Jay's still got a mirror window. He doesn't have to push this. He can play passive, and he's got someone watching his cross. This clear is pretty slow from OCG so far, but as I say that, Jay just peeks around red and gives up his life.
Once again, too much swinging is the problem, but thankfully you've still got Abonai, and he is hungry for more. He will swing and prevail this time around, getting his third kill since the rehost, and now going for a pretty typical rotation all the way around towards small tower. Generally, new players looking at that, they go, that's the most bold thing I've ever seen, but pretty safe considering they knew exactly the plan from OCG. They're all pressuring from the east side. Another kill is going to go the way of OCG, though, as Callout is also felled, leaving Melted, Abonai, and Forest to hold this one down themselves. That means we're likely going to see them all rotate back to the site itself because you lack manpower, OCG lack time. You're really just going to want to hold down the objective and wait for them to push. Unfortunately for them, though, Forest is stuck right now away from the objective. He's going to have to rotate all the way around towards this laundry staircase, and if OCG heard that below or they know the rotation is coming, they should be able to cut this down.
If they don't know, though, Forest could make a huge play. The breach is now open thanks to the Hibana. There's one player still above from the attack. The impact goes out to try and distract from Forest, and here's the wraparound. He'll find one, but can't find the second. Zoinkers finishes him off. The P shooter of the MP5 not doing nearly enough damage. But here's another wraparound from Melted into Z. Down goes Zoinkers. It's a 2v2, but the case is dropped. And Wichita Wolves take round number 10 thanks to two flanks from their defensive players, and the rest of OCG are stuck on the other side of the map. No one within range to pick that case back up, and Wichita Wolves finally regain their footing.
I do like the adjustment there from Wichita Wolves. They went with a tertiary objective. They played it pretty typically. They didn't pull out any more of the unorthodox stuff we've seen from them in these three previous rounds, but really they just played their typical game, the time waste game, the hold the top floor, but make sure you back on off, saving your life eventually. They had a couple of problems with that. They lost one player upstairs and one player on that rotation around the White Hall past the security door, but they still got back to the objective and they had people in place. The big change in that round, it was the flank from Forest. He did miss a couple of crucial shots that would have guaranteed the round in that moment, but what that did is it made OCG completely flustered. All of a sudden, they didn't know if their back was secured because all of a sudden somebody pops out of the woodwork and gets a kill. It dropped the diffuser, it stopped their momentum, and it allowed Melted to then swing around and get a kill as well. It allowed them all to play off each other in that little wraparound situation, like you called it, Harrison, in that moment, and it worked. It worked well. The time waste combined with a nice little flank, it all was enough to give them the round and maybe stop the bleeding that we've seen in these last few. They are going to head back upstairs, though, a site that did not go their way the first time they tried it, and OCG, they know how to get this done.
Am I just going to leave the other pest he missed and split? All right. Under the split bench, I guess it stays. But he's able to get one drone, and that's huge. Any drone that you can take away from the attack and give to yourself can potentially be a round saver because, you know, there's a lot of little nooks and crannies you can hide those. Here comes the OCG clear once again. It's going to be from west to east, and they've got this box, so their objective is obviously to clear below so they can get that vertical bottom-up play. At the same time, you got people clearing into Master to go ahead and open the games wall, and Abenai's drone looks like it's going to take a nice little seat in sight and maybe call for some C4s. There's not a lot for OCG to contest downstairs. There's only a couple players, but despite that, GXD is still going to get cut down. Abenai playing inside of security, downing him and finishing him off with the C4. That's your Nomad dead, and judging by where the take was coming from, I'm not too sure if, I mean, more than one or two of those air jabs were put down.
Well, you know, speaking of the direction of this take, it was surprising to me that what just happened did. I mean, that was a 1v1 for the ages because everyone else from OCG is off doing other things. You've got Bone outside the big window. You've got Devil and Nova approaching from the Master side. And you only had one player to deal with Abenai, but Zoinkers did that very effectively. That one maneuver is going to give them the advantage. Great kill there from Nova as well to make that one happen. And so it's going to be a 4v3 as once again, Wichita Wolves need to just gun their way out of a tough situation. Both Devil and Nova will be pushing in from Trophy, actually just walking into the middle of the site. Wichita Wolves, they have no idea. Melted swings and gets punished for it. Nova, 11 kills on the round, now searching for 12 as he pushes on in through kids, but the rest of the enemies are falling around him. Bone gets another one, and Devil will use this chance to get the plant down. Forrest, his position is known on the top of white stairs. A nade's going to come his way, and he's not going to be able to budge. Another stun as well to freeze him in place, and this round is all but secured from OCG. If they can just sit back and hold angles and play together. Because Forrest, he's got a single doorway to push out of, and he has 3 players to find and no time to do it. There is Nova getting another kill, playing actually just ridiculously crazy since the rehost and really giving OCG the sauce they need to make this comeback.
Yeah, it's another multi-kill, a 3K on the round for the Zofia. I was a little bit worried as their flank watch of GXD went down very early on, but Zoinker was able to find a refrag, and because the game's breach was open, Nova found the angle onto the attic player. So what does that mean for the rest of the round? Well, Forrest is off doing Forrest things as Vigil downstairs creating a distraction, leaving only 2 players on the site. But where are those 2 players cornered off? They're both in kids. What does that allow OCG to do? Well, it means that attic is not covered, and more importantly, Trophy is not covered. So in comes the push. Nova just walks right through, I believe with Devil very close behind him, gets the entry kill through the kids rotate. Bone covering from big window finds the trade attempt from Jay, and Forrest, who was downstairs doing Forrest things, sure he was able to get 1 kill, but he was completely ineffectual on site. He gets hit by an air jab too, so they know exactly where he is. And what does OCG do? They do not get ahead of themselves. They play together, and they lock out the round without throwing any bodies away at all. Wichita Wolves
10 seconds remaining.
do not want this to go to overtime. They're employing a very similar mirror setup, maybe even, or sorry, the same mirror setup, maybe same strat overall as well on their laundry site that they nearly won. It was very close. It came down to a 2v2 and a good heads-up play from Bone to find the last 2 players. If Wichita Wolves do not allow that to happen, or if they just, if one engagement just happens to go a different way, then they could potentially win that round. But the soft wall that they had used to play the mirror window around will actually be reinforced this time. So if OCG never opened that, this mirror window that Jay is playing behind might not be as much of an issue.
I do like this change, though. I think that that wall actually gave Wichita Wolves more trouble than it did OCG. I mean, it's designed for you to see into pillar, right? You have full pillar control by just sitting at that rotate, but the problem is that wall, it looks at a lot more than just pillar. Just from tower stairs, you can see that wall and you can see straight into the middle of the site itself. So all OCG have to do is post up on if the wall's open, which is not in this case. All they have to do is post up on the tower stairs, hold an angle through that wall. They can cut off every rotation. And so Wichita Wolves, from the beginning of the round, kind of just have to sit still. And that's not the way we're seeing them play this. This round, we're seeing OCG do anything but sit still. They've already made quite a bit of progress, entering through tower, making their presence known from there. And now we'll see Devil rotate around towards this blue side and pressure elbow, the position where we've seen Abunai find quite a few kills in rounds previous.
Smoke's being prepped by GXD. It looks like they're going to be going for an E-box drop, just off the smoke grenades. No Ying, which is a little bit interesting because Ying is that wedge that you drive right into the pillar players, but I digress. Here comes the push. Force with the first one. Zoinker's down as well. No refrag just yet from OCG. As I say that, though, Bone will finally get that pick, but it's still a one-man disadvantage for the attackers after their E-box drop. Devil trying to come in to clear elbow, but his head is going to get ripped off by Abunai. A beautiful pixel from the Jaeger, and it's a 2 versus 4. Both the new pickups from Bone and GXD to try and clutch up this round. Their entire hopes of OT ride on their newest recruits. Otherwise, they'll give Wichita Wolves their first victory in regulation. Melted looking like he wants to swing, but instead will fall back to Freezer. A good decision, allowing him to play closer to his teammates as the toxic gas canisters start to come out. One left in Jay's pocket, 25 seconds to delay. OCG are running very low on time, and I mean, there's still a C4 in Callout's pocket for these players to play with. Jay is now prone, holding Abunai's crossfire through elbow. This is going to be really tough for OCG to get this plant down, but GXD will start the attempt. Where's the C4 from Callout? He's got to rotate through. Here it comes, but it misses, but it doesn't matter. Melted and Callout still get the kills despite the C4 missing, and OCG are unable to bring it to OT. No points for this game. They give Wichita Wolves their very first victory.